Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new, with almost no knowledge of the story or world.
Each segment, we intend to cover what happens in each new chapter and discuss our experience along the way.
Hold on to your butts, because this is Ascension Unleashed, a blind read-through, and today we'll be covering Chapter 56.
Chapter 56.
A blind.
Indeed, a blind. If Rashek fails to lead Alendi astray, then I have instructed the lad to kill my former friend.
Oh, really? Mine says, if Rashek fails to lead Alendi astray, then I've instructed the lad to kill Alendi.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
One of them feels
We're not even
closer than the other.
Yeah, one of them at least calls him a former friend. Other one's just like, I'm not even.
Yeah.
Also, why does he say, if Rashek fails to lead Alendi astray, then I have instructed the lad to kill him? I think that would have been fine. Why do you have to say Alendi? That's weird. You say Alendi twice. I prefer your version.
Thank you. I think I do too. Also, I think we got this again in a previous chapter, not as an epigraph, but in the segment that Sawset had read to us.
Okay.
How can Vin stand this? Elend wondered. He could barely see 20 feet in the mists. Trees appeared as apparitions as he walked, their branches curling around the road. The mist almost seemed to live. It moved, swirled, and blew in the cold night air. It snatched up his puffs of breath as if drawing a piece of him into it. Woo! Walking in the mists at night?
Yeah, maybe that is what it does. When it's powerful, it's taking your life from you. It makes you into a wraith.
Deepness, Elend. He shivered and kept walking. The snow had melted patchily over the last few days, leaving heaps in shadowed areas. The canal road, thankfully, was mostly clear. He walked with a pack over his shoulder, carrying only the necessities. At Spook's suggestion, they'd traded their horses at a village several days back. They'd rode the creatures hard the prior few days, and it was Spook's estimation that trying to keep them fed and alive for the last leg of their trip to Luthadel wouldn't be worth the effort.
Jeez, they're taking a long time. I was expecting it, but then again, yeah, they really can't run their horses all the way to death.
Yeah.
Vin really did speed through.
Vin sped through, and I don't think it makes that much of a difference whether or not Elend rushes back
Gets
or
there,
not at
yeah,
this point.
true.
What will be
Yeah.
done will be done.
But yeah, they can't take it leisurely either.
Yeah. Unlike when they were so quickly running off for help at that honeymoon pace. Besides, whatever was going to happen at the city had likely already occurred. Oh, see, there you go. And so much more eloquently stated than what I had just said. So Elend walked alone in the darkness. Despite the eeriness, he kept his word and traveled solely at night. Not only was it Vin's will, but Spook claims nighttime was safer. Fewer travelers braved the mists. Therefore, most bandits didn't bother watching roadways then. Neat.
It works. Makes sense. It's not just convenient.
Yeah, and I'm glad that the mist creature has not yet caused them an issue. I'm wondering if the mist creature followed Vin. Like, we know it tried to kill Elend, but I'm wondering if it did in fact follow Vin.
Well, we might get some sort of interaction with it now.
Yeah. Spook prowled ahead, his keen senses allowing him to detect danger before Elend blundered into it. How does that work anyway? Elend wondered as he walked. Tin is supposed to make you see better, but what does it matter how far you can see if the mists obscure everything? Good question.
But it helps you see through it, the mists. We do know that tin does help you see quite far through the mists, actually.
Yeah. Writers claimed that allomancy could help a person pierce the mist. Elend had always wondered what that was like. Of course, he had also wondered what it was like to feel the strength of pewter or to fight with Atium. Allomancers were uncommon, even among great houses, yet because of the way Straff had treated him, Elend had always felt guilty that he hadn't been one.
Yeah. That
Mm,
that that tracks. That's we
it's
know this about
natural.
him as well. Yeah, we know that he's had these feelings, and I was just thinking about it again because it's like, what else are we doing? We're just walking here, and it's like, you know what? I can't see. You know what would be great if I could see. So yeah, musing to himself.
Yeah. But also, it's completely natural, I think, for a son to want to not fail his father, to want to live up to his father's standards, even if that father is Straff. And obviously,
Yeah.
Straff is someone who would place a lot of pressure on his son, especially over something like this. It's a natural feeling from Elland
Mm,
to feel bad about failing in this way, even though it's not really a
mm.
failure.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like it's not a huge deal that Straff's son was not an Allomancer because of how rare the ability is. But don't worry, he was busy farming it basically with his mistresses.
Yeah. But I ended up as king eventually, even without allomancy, he thought, smiling to himself. He'd lost the throne, true, but while they could take his crown, they could not take away his accomplishments. He'd proven that an assembly could work. He'd protected the Ska, given them rights and a taste of freedom they'd never forget. He'd done more than anyone would have expected of him. Uh, yes, and that's great. Good for
Mm,
you, Elland. I think a while back, I wondered whether or not we wanted Elland to get the kingship at the end of the book, whether or not that would undermine his journey. Now that we know that he will be king at the end of all of this, do you
mhm.
feel it has done that?
I don't think it's taken away from it, no. He did still go through the loss. The loss was still significant enough.
Yeah,
Getting it back is just part of the struggle.
I agree.
That makes him more, yeah.
I think the way he got it back played
Mhm,
out believably, and
mhm,
I don't think it was done in such a way as to undermine him. It's not like
mhm,
he showed back up and everyone just
mhm.
arbitrarily decided, no, that's our king and we're keeping him. Kind of
Yeah,
an obtuse way to approach it.
mm.
So I'm
And it also
satisfied.
yeah, and it also facilitates a lot with Vin as well. She is the knife, and she's accepted being the knife, and she makes it possible.
Yeah.
So it also works with it.
And I also don't think it undermined the will of the assembly.
Mm.
This was Vin's
Yeah.
doing. She went out and got an army, saved the city,
Mhm.
and conquered the
Yeah.
other army. So, yeah, it's Ellen's. It's fair. Something rustled in the mists. Ellen froze, staring out into the darkness. Sounds like leaves, he thought nervously. Something moving across them? Or just the wind blowing them? He decided there was nothing more unnerving than staring into the misty darkness, seeing ever shifting silhouettes. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm just laughing at the fact that it's just like, I don't wanna look here.
Yeah.
There's nothing more unnerving than staring into it. It's like, I'll just keep moving. It's cool. Just keep moving.
A part of him would rather face down a Kolos army than stand alone at night in an unknown forest. Elend, someone whispered. Elend spun. He put a hand to his chest as he saw Spook approaching. He thought about chastising the boy for sneaking up on him. It's a jump scare.
Yeah, it is.
But there wasn't really any other way to approach in the mists. Did you see something? Spook asked quietly. Elend shook his head. But I think I heard something. Spook nodded, then darted off into the mists again. Elend stood, uncertain whether he should continue on or wait. He didn't have to debate very long. Spook returned a few moments later. Nothing to worry about. Just a mist wraith. What? Elend asked. Oh, I.
Doesn't okay. Maybe he just hasn't no, he's encountered them before. He should know about them.
Yeah,
But maybe he thinks that they're dangerous, and that's what he's scared of. Yeah.
yeah. My mind just went back to the early chapter with Kelsier and Vin where she learned what a mist
Mhm.
wraith was, and I
Mhm.
had an image of this chapter going the way of that. But you're right, it would make sense that Ellen should know that mist wraiths are
Mhm.
things and not spooks. Ha, spooks.
Yeah.
Spook. But you know what I mean. Mist wraith, Spook said. You know, big goopy things related to Kondra. Don't tell me you haven't read about them. I have. Ellen said, nervously scanning the darkness. But I never thought I'd be out in the mists with one. Spook shrugged. It's probably following our scent, hoping we'll leave some trash for it to eat. The things are harmless, mostly. Leave some trash. Domesticate it.
Yeah, yeah, you know what? It's pretty funny that and also look, Spook gets to be brave and know stuff more than Ellen. Look at
Yay.
you, Spook.
Yes.
Mm.
Also, what do the Mistwraiths do during the day?
I don't know, do they go underground or something? I don't know.
Hmm. Now I'm
They
curious.
just become a pile of goop? Mhm.
Mostly? Alan asked. You probably know more about them than I do. Look, I didn't come back here to chat about scavengers. There's light up ahead. A village? Alan asked, thinking back to when they'd come this way before. It's the village that Vin saw, I bet.
Mhm. I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Spook shook his head. Looks like watchfires. An army? Maybe. I think you should wait behind for a bit. It could be awkward if you wander into a scout post. Okay, maybe not then.
Mm. Okay, yeah, but he is dressed normal, but yeah, it could be awkward because we don't know what if somebody's looking for him, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Agreed, Elend said. Spook nodded, then took off into the mists, and Elend was alone in the darkness again. He shivered, pulling his cloak close, and eyed the mists in the direction from which he'd heard the Mistwraith. Yes, he'd read about them. He knew they were supposed to be harmless, but the thought of something crawling out there, its skeleton made from random sets of bones, watching him, don't focus on that, Elend told himself. He instead turned his attention to the mists. Vin was right about one thing, at least. They were lingering longer and longer despite the sunrise. Some mornings they remained a full hour after the sun came up. He could easily imagine the disaster that would befall the land should the mists persist all day. Crops would fail, animals would starve, and civilization would collapse. This chapter is so creepy, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. I'm just thinking about, yeah, that is what happens with the deepness, I suppose.
Yep.
That's how it goes, and that's what it would look like. And yeah, Vin's not crazy, guys. She's noticing stuff.
Yeah. Also, I think we forgot to mention this is the start of part 6, Words in Steel.
Mhm. Yes. Words in steel. I mean, this is hopefully going to be something where we discuss the words that were in steel, all of the stuff that was studied with
I hope
Sazed.
I hope
I'm hoping.
Ellen's been
Yeah.
reading the book.
I wonder. Maybe he will start right now, but then again, he can't see, so never mind.
Thinking of the deepness as the mist made some sense. How could a single monster, as the obligators said, accepted by most scholars, no matter how dangerous, threaten an entire land? But the mist could kill plants on a wide scale, perhaps even kill people, as Sazed had suggested. He eyed it, shifting around him, playful.
Wow. Okay, hold on. What happened to me was what happened to me. What happened in my book. Okay, it's that passage that you've just read came later. Mine says, could the deepness really be something so simple? Ellen's own impressions of the deepness were seated in scholarly tradition. Some writers dismissed the entire thing as a legend, a rumor used by the obligators to enhance their god's aura of divinity. The majority accepted the historical definition of the deepness, a dark monster that had been slain by the Lord Ruler. And then, and yet, thinking of it as the mist made some sense.
Wow.
Is that just repetitive stuff? Did you get that paragraph later?
And Alan was alone in the darkness again. He shivered, pulling his cloak. Don't focus on that. He instead turned his attention to the mists. Crops would fail, animals would starve, and civilization would collapse. Thinking of the deepness as the mist made some sense. So, and then it goes on. Um, he he eyed it, shifting around him, playful, deceptive. Yeah, I don't think I got any of
Yeah.
that.
Mm. Yeah, because how could you've got and yet thinking of it as the mist made some sense. How could a single beast, no matter how dangerous, threaten an entire land? The mists, though, they could be destructive, kill plants, perhaps even kill people,
Yeah, and
as Sazed had
I'm
suggested.
trying to do this weird thing right now where I look ahead
Mm,
without taking
mm,
in what's being given to me, and I'm not seeing like a sequence of words like what you said you had.
mm. Interesting, but it's just basically the underlying information is the same, but it's just like the wording being different might, signal different things to us, like kill people. Did yours talk about kill people?
I don't think it did, but the mists could kill
Mm.
plants on a wide scale, perhaps even kill people, as Sazed had suggested.
Okay, then it does say that. Okay, because that would have been something that is quite weird to leave out.
Hmm.
Okay.
He eyed it, shifting around him, playful, deceptive. Yes, he could see it as the deepness. Its reputation, more frightening than a monster, more dangerous than an army, was one it would deserve. In fact, watching it as he was, he could see it trying to play tricks on his mind. For instance, the mist bank directly in front of him seemed to be forming shapes. Helen smiled as his mind picked out images in the mists. One almost looked like a person standing there in front of him. Oh, gee, I wonder what that
Oh
could be.
no.
The person stepped
Ellen
forward.
smiling.
Uh,
Sorry, he's smiling. He's like, "Oh, look."
Maybe it's the
Oh
mist
no.
creature.
You may be. Could be. Hello?
Hmm. I mean, they did say that the mist is sapient.
Is Ellen gonna die now?
No way. I no longer believe Elend is going to die in this book.
Okay.
Although he might get injured by the mist creature right now and then never be the same.
Mhm.
The person stepped forward. Ellen jumped, taking a slight step backward, his foot crunching on a bit of ice-crusted snow. Don't be silly, he told himself. Your mind is playing tricks on you. There's nothing. The shape in the mists took another step forward. It was indistinct, almost formless, and yet it seemed real. Random movements in the mists outlined its face, its body, its legs. Lord Ruler! Elend yelped, jumping back. The thing continued to regard him. I'm going mad.
No, why are you thinking you're going mad? She said, "Look out for the mist creature.
Yeah,
Come to your senses." I know you're scared right now,
call for spook.
but come for to your senses. This is real. So again, ooh, in breaking news, Ellen figures out that Vin is not as insane as he thought she was, and this is
Yeah,
real.
yeah, don't trust it. I'm going mad, he thought, hands beginning to shake. The mist figure stopped a few feet in front of him and then raised its right arm and pointed. North, away from Luthadel. Elend frowned, glancing in the direction the figure pointed. There was nothing but more empty mists. He turned back toward it, but it stood quietly, arm upraised. Finn spoke of this thing, he remembered, forcing down his fear. She's try. Wait, so is the mist thing telling him to leave? Go away from Luthadel? Or not?
Yeah. Or look in that direction. I don't know if it is go that direction or look out for something coming from that direction. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and does this conflict with the mist wraith thing's creature person's desire to stab him in the earlier chapter? Is this a different thing?
Yeah, we don't know.
Finn spoke of this thing, he remembered, forcing down his fear. She tried to tell me about it, and I thought she was just making things up. She was right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
You asshole. Just she's just making things up. Why would you think that? Like, you could hope that she's seeing. Maybe what you could do is, oh, Vin is seeing things, but I thought she was just making things up. That's bullshit. What you're telling me that you think that Vin was just lying to you? She was just making things up? That's condescending as fuck.
yeah. And when had she ever been wrong? I mean, she's been wrong a lot, but
Mm.
when had she ever been wrong?
Still, just making things up seems like a weird motive for her to have.
Yeah,
Her seeing things. I think I would rather say it was just her s her mind playing tricks on her. I would
yeah.
have been a lot better with him thinking that, but just making things up is like, "Oh, yeah, yes, Vin was totally just, you know what? I'll
I,
make that up." That's a good thing. Was
I
it to try and keep Ellen from going back to the city? I don't know.
I thought she was hallucinating. I thought she was
Yeah.
overtaxed. I thought she was tired. Any number of excuses, but making things up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just saying, I'm femininely irritated
Say
with
stupid
him for
Ellen.
saying that. Stupid Ellen. No, but you say it's stupid Ellen.
Stupid Ellen!
Yeah, there you go.
She was right, just as she'd been right about the mists staying longer in the day and the possibility of the mists being the deepness. He was beginning to wonder which of them was the scholar. The mist figure continued to point. At least it's trying to communicate instead of just kill.
Yeah, why don't you write in the sand or something? I don't know.
What? Elend asked, his own voice haunting in the silent air. It stepped forward, arms still raised. Elend put a hand to his useless sword, but held his ground. Tell me what you wish of me, he said forcefully. The thing pointed again. Elend cocked his head. It certainly didn't seem threatening. In fact, he felt an unnatural feeling of peace coming from it. Allomancy? He thought, and that's exactly what I thought as
Mm,
well.
yeah,
It's
that
pulling.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't. I was just being like, why is he feeling peace from it? And now he. Okay, Alamancy. Cool.
yeah.
Sorry, I was not there immediately. Okay.
Is this an avatar of allomancy?
I
Like,
don't know.
allomancy? He thought. It's pulling on my emotions. Elend? Spook's voice drifted out of the mists. The figure suddenly dissolved, its form melting into the mists. Spook approached, his face dark and shadowed in the night. Elend, what were you saying? Elend took his hand off his sword, standing upright. He eyed the mists, still not completely convinced that he wasn't seeing things. Nothing, he said. No, don't you dare say nothing,
Oh, you
Elend. You tell him
moron!
the truth.
Say it. Say it, Dorcas.
Stupid Elend!
There you go. Just why? Why would you do that? You got. He's your scout. He's your eyes. He's got to look out for the shit. So because by you telling him that we gain precious seconds in which Spook would have to think, what is this? Oh, it's Vin. The whole thing that Ellen just had to go through gets cancelled out if you tell him, hey, it's real. I just saw it.
Yeah, very
But
much
but
so.
okay, Ellen. But he's like, oh, I'm still not completely convinced that I wasn't seeing things. Well, fine, you're not completely convinced, but you gotta at least err on the side of caution. You moron.
Yes. And the thing that I want to know now is this the same mist creature that tried to stab him, or is it a different one? Are there many mist
Yeah.
creatures? What's the
Yeah.
deal?
Because why wouldn't it just try and stab him again?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's pointing him in the direction of the place he's coming from, which is where the mist creature that tried to stab him was. So,
Mhm.
whose side are you on? Thing that is clearly
Yeah.
trying not to be scary, but is.
I'm hoping that it's a different one. I feel like I want there to be a good one and a bad one.
Hmm.
It's better than just having a bad one that I don't understand.
Yeah. I think it's Kelsier. Maybe it's Kelsier piercing the veil. He is the mist.
Ooh.
Spook glanced back the way he had come. You should come look at this. The army? Elend asked, frowning. Spook shook his head. No, the refugees. So, I bet these refugees would have left before Vin saved the day, perhaps. So they're gonna
Or are they
have.
from somewhere else?
Or that. Hmm.
Because there's war everywhere. They could. What if they're Sets refugees? Like people fleeing there. There's all the dominances are in some sort of chaos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The keepers are dead, my lord, the old man said, sitting across from Elend. The keepers? The
All of them?
terrace
Which
keepers?
keepers? Just all of them? Where are these people from? Are these terrorists?
Yeah, are these could be different refugees? Refugees not from Luthadel, but from Terras?
Yeah.
Because it's the Terrace keepers. Sazed's a keeper, right?
Mhm.
I'm not having a dumb moment.
No.
The keepers are dead, my lord, the old man said, sitting across from Elend. He didn't have a tent, only a blanket stretched between several poles. Either dead or captured. Another man brought
Okay.
Elend. Hmm.
I'm trying to think. Okay, that no, they don't have to be dead. Well, they're captured. That's fine. I want that. That's cool.
I will not accept that Sazed could be the last Terrace keeper.
Keeper. Yeah.
That would be a tragedy, a sincere
Yeah.
tragedy.
He, he can't reproduce. Nothing. It's gone. It's the last of the keepers.
Yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean last of the terracemen, but that is where my mind first went.
Mhm.
Another man brought Elend a cup of warm tea, his demeanor servile. Both wore the robes of stewards, and while their eyes bespoke exhaustion, their clothes and hands were clean. Old habits.
Yeah, so these are terrorists. People, not keepers. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm feeling that as terrorists is destroyed, these are terrorist refugees.
yeah. Would they be going toward Luthadel then? And how would Ellen, Devin, and Spook have missed them on their way to Terrace?
True.
Hmm. Old habits, Ellen thought, nodding thankfully and taking a sip of the tea. Terrace's people might have declared themselves independent, but 1,000 years of servitude cannot be so easily thrown off. The camp was an odd place. Spook said he counted nearly 1,000 people in it, a nightmare of a number to care for, feed, and organize in the cold winter. Many were elderly, and the men were mostly stewards, eunuchs bred for genteel service with no experience in hunting. Tell me what happened, Ellen said. The elderly steward nodded, his head shaking. He didn't seem particularly frail. In fact, he had that same air of controlled dignity that most stewards exhibited, but his body had a slow, chronic tremble.
So yeah, these are terrorist thingies, and my biggest question is, how did we miss them? Which direction were they coming from that we missed them on the way?
Yeah,
Or which direction are they going? Where did they come from and where did they go?
yeah. The synod came out into the open, my lord, once the empire fell. He accepted a cup of his own, but Elend noticed that it was only half full, a precaution that proved wise, as the elderly steward's shaking nearly spilled its contents. They became our rulers. Perhaps it was not wise to reveal themselves so soon. I've known keepers, friend, Ellen said softly. I find it hard to believe that they could have been easily defeated. Who did this? Okay, so they have been defeated. Still
Hmm.
inquisitors, my lord, the old man said. Terrace has been destroyed, oh no!
Mm, did Marsh rescue some of them?
Maybe. So,
Okay, I found another paragraph that doesn't seem to be coming up.
what do you mean?
In my version that didn't come up in yours. So before I've known keepers, friend, there is not all terracemen were ferrochemists. In fact, very few were. The keepers, people like Sazed and Tidwell, had been forced into hiding long ago by the Lord Ruler. His paranoia that ferrochemical and elementic lines might mix, thereby potentially producing a person with his same powers, had led him to try and destroy all ferrochemists.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
guess it's,
I
yeah,
don't
that's what
have that.
I'm talking. Yeah, that's that sort of repetition is it's necessary.
I disagree. I don't think it's
Reminder.
necessary.
Hmm,
I
I guess it's just it's Ellen thinking about it.
perhaps, but I
I don't find it egregious. But yeah, you can see why your version doesn't have it.
yeah. No,
Mhm,
I'm happy without it. I would feel it's repetitive Sanderson if I had it. I think.
mhm.
Steel inquisitors, my lord, the old man said. Ellen shivered. So that's where they've been. What were they looking for in Terrace? The Well of Ascension, I bet.
Mm, yeah.
There were dozens of them, my lord, the old man said. They attacked Tathingdven with an army of Golos brutes, but that was merely a distraction, I think. Their real goal was the Synod and the Keepers themselves. While our army, such as it was, fought the beasts, the Inquisitors themselves struck at the Keepers.
Oh yeah, they're totally dead. They're not captured. What would they capture them for? Or do you need a keeper to make an inquisitor?
Maybe?
Mhm. We don't know.
Yeah. Lord Ruler, Alan thought, stomach twisting. So what do we do with the book Sazed told us to deliver to the Synod? Do we pass it on to these men? Or keep it?
Keep it?
Keep it. Yeah, get it back to Sazed. Sazed will be de
Yeah.
facto leader. Ooh,
Mm.
where's
He's
that
coming into royalty.
epigraph?
Mhm.
Uh, Yeah, let's see. He commanded kings. He fathered no children. The terrorists rejected him, but he came to lead them. This is totally setting
Mhm.
up that Sazed will come to
Yeah.
lead the terrorists.
Yep.
Sazed is the hero of ages.
True.
But yeah, take it back to Sazed and be like,
What do you
sorry,
do? What do we do? Yeah.
your
I'm
whole
sorry,
people
everybody's
are
dead.
dead. No, there are going to have been other keepers out doing what Sazed was supposed to be doing and teaching. So there's
Mhm.
probably a handful left. Hello?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
They took the bodies with them, my lord, the old man said. Terrace is in ruins, and that is why we are going south. You said you know King Wencher? Now, okay.
Oh,
good
that's
good
mean. Yeah.
good giving a
But
fake name.
yeah, you do, yeah.
Elend doesn't realize that he's king again.
Mhm.
But again, how did they not cross paths on their way out?
Mm.
That doesn't mesh for me. I need to understand that.
Yeah.
I have met him, Elend said. He ruled Luthadel, where I'm from. Will he take us in, do you think? The old man asked. We have little hope anymore. Tassingdven was the terrace capital, but even it wasn't large. We are few these days. The Lord Ruler saw to that. I do not know if Luthadel can help you, friend. We can serve well, the old man promised. We were prideful to declare ourselves free, I think. We struggled to survive, even before the Inquisitors attacked. Perhaps they did us a favor by casting us out.
Oh, that hurts.
No.
Yeah. But,
Always choose freedom.
but yeah, but they are a downtrodden people, very, very much so, highly traumatized for generations. It's not, they need someone to show them that freedom is possible, so
Yeah. Elend shook his head. Kolos attacked Luthadel a bit over a week ago, he said quietly. I am a refugee myself, Master Steward. For all I know, the city itself has fallen. The old man fell silent. Ah, he finally said. I'm sorry. I was traveling back to see what happened. Tell me, I passed this way not long ago. How is it that I missed you in my journey north? Thank you
yes.
for asking!
Yeah, very much so, like, thousands of people, we would have seen you.
Yeah. We didn't come by the canal route, my lord, the old man said. We cut across country, straight down so that we could gather supplies at Suringshot. You have no further word of events at Lucidel, then? There was a senior keeper in residence there. We were hoping to seek her counsel.
Oh, that hurts. I don't we know, but still, just the fact is just a nice reminder. Oh,
Yeah, I'm sad. That death hurt.
mm, mhm. Still hurts. Thanks for reminding us there.
Mm-hmm. Lady Tindwell? Elend asked. The old man perked up. Yes, you know her? She was an attendant at the king's court, Elend said. Keeper Tindville could be considered our leader now, I think, the old man said. We aren't certain how many traveling keepers there are, but she is the only known member of the synod who was out of the city when we were attacked. She was still in Luthadel when I left, Elend said. Then she might live still, the old man said. Oof, that hurts.
But hey, I think what really helps me in this is like, okay, well, Sazed does, and considering all the prophecy and stuff, this makes sense now. It's wow. Mhm.
Yeah, we can hope, I think. I thank you, traveler, for your information. Please, make yourself comfortable in our camp. Elend nodded, rising. Spook stood a short distance away in the mists near a pair of trees. Elend joined him. The people kept large fires burning in the night as if to defy the mists. The light did some good in dispelling the mist's power, and yet the light seemed to accentuate them as well, creating three-dimensional shadows that bewildered the eye. Spook leaned against the scraggly tree trunk, looking around at things Elend couldn't see, but Elend could hear some of what Spook must be inspecting. Crying children, coughing men, shuffling livestock. It doesn't look good, does it? Elend said quietly. Spook shook his head. I wish they'd take down all these fires, he muttered. The light hurts my eyes. And then I think of Vin thinking that he burns too much tin.
Mhm. Yeah, so he's still burning it though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Elend glanced to the side. They aren't that bright. Spook shrugged. They're wasting wood. Excuses, you addict.
It's cold. Yeah, you addict.
Forgive them their comforts for now. They'll have little enough of it in the weeks to come. Elend looked over at a passing squad of Terrace soldiers, in apostrophes, a group of men who had obviously been stewards. Their posture was excellent, and they walked with a smooth grace, but Elend doubted they knew how to use any weapons beyond a cooking knife. No, there is no army in Terrace to help my people. No, there
Okay,
isn't.
yeah.
This is
But hey, there's
devastating.
something. Yeah, there are something that there are a liability, there are mouths to feed, but Ellen's not gonna leave them behind or just not care about them and be like, "Oh, shame." I don't feel like Ellen's that guy.
Yep.
He's obviously looking for help, of course, but that doesn't mean that he's not gonna care about these people.
Yeah. No, there is no army in Terrace to help my people. You sent Finn back to gather our allies, Spook said quietly, to bring them up to meet with us, perhaps to seek refuge in Terrace. I know, Ellen said. We can't gather in Terrace, though. Not with the Inquisitors up there. I know, Ellen said again. Spook was silent for a moment. The whole world is falling apart, El, he finally said. Terrace, Luthadel. Luthadel has not been destroyed, Ellen said, looking sharply at Spook. Good reaction, Ellen.
Yeah. It's look, yeah, that's what anyone would do anyway with denial. It's denial. But yeah, we know, obviously. So we're like, yes, please keep that hope in mind. Don't run the other way, please. We need you to go back. She sorted shit out for you.
Yeah. The Kolos. Vin will have found a way to stop them, Ellen said. For all we know, she already found the power at the Well of Ascension. We need to keep going. We can and will rebuild whatever was lost. Then we'll worry about helping Terrace. Spook hesitated, then nodded and smiled. Ellen was surprised to see how much his confident words seemed to soothe the boy's concerns. Spook leaned back, eyeing Ellen's still steaming cup of tea, and Ellen handed it over with a mumble that he didn't like heartroot tea. Spook drank happily. Ellen found matters more troubling than he'd admitted. The deepness returning, ghosts in the mist, and the Inquisitors making a play for the Terrace dominance. What else have I been ignoring? I mean,
Okay.
you've been ignoring, but let's not pretend you haven't also been occupied, Ellen.
Yeah. Yeah. Ignoring implies you had knowledge and left it.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose we could say you were ignoring is in that you weren't making an effort to find out where the Inquisitors were.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But yeah, you've been rather occupied, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Marsh? He's gonna have to tell us how to fight them. That's a lot of them.
Yeah,
Um,
what is going on?
hmm.
What's in the rest of this book?
Has Marsh led the Inquisitors to take over Terrace people? Hmm? I don't know. Take
Yeah.
over the
Are
Keepers, get rid of the Keepers? Is Marsh evil now?
I hope not.
He
Are we
called you
heading
out.
to what kind of ending are we heading to? We've only got a few chapters left, and it's great that Luthadel is going to be a-okay, but we're heading toward a a not necessarily happy ending.
Nope. We're going towards a many questions ending.
Yeah, more of a segue into the third book,
Mhm.
I think.
Mhm. More so than the first was a segue into the second.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right. And we're
Well,
we're blinding it all the way, even though I'm like, "Come on, let's go and read," but it's all blind, eh?
yes, the rest of this book will be blind.
There we go.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that darn Kita if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks,
Yeah, thanks,
bye.
bye.